You don't have any estimates yet. You don't have anything in your calendar. You don't have any active appointments or any monthly revenue. It's just blank. Well, let's change that. We're going to start with this preset questions page. There's a link here under the Get Started section, but it's also in the navigation menu to the left. Most of what you do in Compass Wave is going to be based out of that navigation menu, so why don't you take the chance to get familiar with it. Under the Tools drop-down here, there's the Preset Questions link. That's where we're going to go first. Now, we already filled out your estimate tool with convenient questions that's already made for you. They're already ready to go, and if you'd like, you can just use them straight out of the box. And they touch on various subjects. You see we've got pets, occupants, kitchen use, additional services, frequency, a lot of other stuff. Now, if you're not sure what you want to ask your customers, I would suggest leaving this as it is. You'll start to get a feel for what you want to do, and you'll start to want a little more flexibility, and I'll get to that in a bit. But for now, if you want to use these preset questions, you can just click on one of them. These are actually sections here that you can open up. So this is pets, and there are a couple options. You can ask customers if they have pets, and this is what the customer will see. They'll see, do you have pets? And then a drop down that says yes or no. You can ask them to enter the number and types of pets, in which case they'll see two boxes where they can type how many dogs and cats and how many other pets they have. You can ask customer to enter the number and types of pets, but this is a different version of it, where they can enter how many dogs, how many cats, how many birds, how many other pets. And then the last option is do not ask about pets. So if you'd like to change it, right now we have it set to ask customers if they have pets. I'm going to change it to this one. So the customer will get to type in exactly what type of pets they have, because them having a dog makes a big difference than them having a bird, right? So we want to make sure we click Save Changes. Anytime you see that Save Changes button, you want to make sure so you don't lose your work, you click it. And then when we go to the drivers page, this is still under Tools at the left. These two pages work very closely together. And then you click the Cleaning Times dropdown. Under Pets, you'll see the four options that the customer has, the four boxes that they'll have to fill in. Except this time, we're deciding how their answers affect the estimate total. So in this case, they type in 3 dogs, right? Well, we're setting that if they have dogs, it'll add 10% to the estimate total, right? So that seems logical. We're just adding to the total depending on what their answer is. And you get to do that with all the different sections. Here's our occupants, our kitchen use, add-on rates, add-on times. You get to add all of this and decide how their answers affect the total price of their estimate. If you have any questions about this, feel free to contact us using this little orange chat bubble at the bottom right. But I encourage you to experiment with it. I think you'll start to find it intuitive. Under room times here, this is a special one. You get to decide the minutes multipliers for each of the rooms. So your estimate tool will figure out how many rooms a house has. It'll say, oh, this house has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 1 kitchen. And then multiply that by these minutes. Right? So if you have 2 bedrooms, it'll add 30 minutes. 1 bathroom, it'll add another 15, and 1 kitchen, it'll add another 15. So we'll say in this fictional house, we're at an even 60 minutes, right? So if we go to the cost drivers section at the bottom and into payroll costs, we'll see it's totaling up a total payroll cost per hour. It'll factor in your FICA, FUTA, workers' comp, other payroll fees, and your hourly employee rate, and come up with this figure here. So, by the way, this hourly employee rate is for the whole team. So if you have 3 people per team, you're going to add all 3 wages together and put it here. And it'll figure out your total payroll cost per hour. So with this fictional 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 kitchen house, that was at a even 60 minutes. what it's going to do is multiply this dollar amount by the minutes, or by the hours, I should say. And so it'll add $31.05 to your fee. And if you change the tax percentages, you'll see this payroll cost updating. However, if you don't want to charge by time, you can actually price per square foot as well. Under the room times section, under cleaning times, if you type something in this box, it'll actually multiply that by the square footage. So say they have 1,500 square foot, and you type in a 0.1 here, right? It'll give them $150. So if we type in 0.1 for a 1,500 square foot house, it'll start at $150. This is just deciding your base price. These other drivers here and other cleaning times will add on to that base price. So if they have dogs, there's 10% added on to the base price that you've set. If they have occupants, it'll add 5% for each occupant, because I just typed that in and I clicked Save Changes. Right? So if we go down to the cost drivers section down here again, you can add in your profit margin. So you want to take 25% above what your base price is. Then it'll add in with all of your costs and make sure you have that profit margin. It'll already take care of all that for you. Same with your taxes here. I'm in Pennsylvania, so I wanted to make sure I click Pennsylvania taxes. We're at 6%. And these other two work together. We look at overhead costs and number of jobs. Just opening some sections here. If we have, under overhead costs, we have all of our salaries and various yearly expenses totaled out. Now these are just rough estimates. They're not exact numbers. But you have them all totaled out, and it'll add it all up per year for you. Conveniently divide it per month for you. And then based on how many estimated cleaning jobs you've said that you'll do per year, it'll figure out how many you're doing per month and per weekday. And then we'll try to calculate out exactly how much needs to be added to each cleaning to handle all of those expenses at the end of the year. So by these calculations, if we add $37.50 to every cleaning, and we do 2,000 cleanings a year, and these numbers are all accurate, we pay our manager $30,000, we pay $11,000 in rent, $2,000 in office supplies, $5,000 in vehicle expenses, etc. Then we will have at the end of the year $75,000, and it will pay all of our expenses. So I'm on my driver's page here. I came back actually after doing an estimate as a customer. And I wanted to show you these last two sections over here on under the cleaning times section here. They're very important. The estimate range section here and the minimum amount section. So I'm going to show you here in the dashboard, by the way. This is what it'll look like once you get an estimate. And you'll see here in our news feed that we have an estimate from August 26th, 123 Main Street, and this is the estimate they were given. And notice it's a range. It's from $290.86 to $326.54. Now this was calculated. These aren't random numbers. Note that the range that we originally got was this 290. That's the estimate. Right? However, this 326, we told it to calculate that. So if I go back to our driver's page and under cleaning times and estimate range, by default, the high range is set to 15% higher than the actual estimate. So that's by default. You can change that. Some people like to have a wider range so that it covers incidentals better. Some people like to have a smaller range because it gives a sense of confidence. You can also change the low range. So perhaps you want the low range to be 5% smaller and the high range to be 15% higher than the estimate. So just in case it's somewhere in there. You can mess with these numbers, um, but this is where the range comes in. You always want to make sure you click Save Changes. Again, we're talking about that. And under minimum amounts, I also wanted to show you, by default, this won't be set. However, you can set a minimum amount for your estimates. So I set $150 here. If the estimate comes out to $100, it'll just bump it up to $150. So this way you're not getting any estimates that are lower than you're intending. So that about wraps up the time and cost drivers. Next, we're going to look at the custom questions. They give us a little bit more flexibility in how we go about creating an estimate.